Our studio time check says it's 35 minutes past 6 a.m. Good morning to you, dear listener. Thank you for tuning to Wells Radio 89.3 FM, your preferred wholesome radio, your number one family radio in the whole of Oyo State. It's a wonderful Tuesday morning, and it's another time to, get started on the day's broadcast. All right, my name is Bolanle Oduekun Ayola, and I'll be your host this morning on Perspectives Unlimited. It's a show where we take a look at headlines and stories making the rounds across the different dailies in Nigeria. We take a look at headlines, we take a look at the stories, we discuss them, we break them down, we go beyond the news and help you make sense of these stories. And not only that, you're also a part of the show as you get to contribute to Perspectives Unlimited, giving us your own perspective by calling the studio lines, which will be read out, once they're open. So you call in the studio lines and then you give us your perspectives as well. Now, did you know that you can watch us live on Facebook? We're currently live on Facebook at Wells Radio 893 FM fan page. Wells Radio 893 FM fan page. You can also watch us live on YouTube at Wells Radio 89.3 FM. Okay, and one thing I want you to do for me is to go on these two mediums, that's Facebook and YouTube, and like our post. Not just like our post, make sure you follow us. If it's on YouTube, make sure you subscribe and click on the notification bell. On Facebook, make sure you follow us, like our posts, comment, and of course share. Don't listen to this good thing alone. Make sure you share with someone else. All right, as I said earlier, it's Perspectives Unlimited. I'm Bolanle Oduekun Ayola. Let's dive into the stories for the day on the several front pages. I have the front page of the Punch newspaper, the front page of the This Day newspaper. Also have the front page of the Daily Trust newspaper as well. On the front page of the Punch newspaper, the lead headline says, July flood alert. 20 states at risk despite 620 billion naira intervention. NIMET forecasts flooding in Lagos, Edo, Benue. 17 others in July. States face scrutiny over 620 billion naira ecological fund. That story is on page 2 of the Punch newspaper this morning. More headlines. 2027 firestorm as APC coalition battle for northern ADC leaders. ADC accuses federal government of backroom deals with northern leaders. APC fumes. That story is on page 2 as well. More headlines. Ladoja next in line as tributes flow for late Olubadan. That's on page 27. Nigeria's reform push yet to reach masses. That's from the IMF, and you find that on page 29 of the Punch newspaper this morning. On the foreign scene, Kenya anti-government protests leave 10 dead, dozens injured. That story is on page 24. Senate braces for showdown as Natasha plans return today. That story is on page 27. ASU branches suspend lectures over delayed June salaries. That's on page 24. And we see here U.S. Embassy begins screening Nigerian students' social media accounts. That story is on page 27 of the Punch newspaper this morning. On the front page of the This Day newspaper, the lead headline says, Keyamo inaugurates Enugu Air, says Mba, undoubtedly one of the best governors. Airline operates inaugural flights to Enugu and Abuja, and Mba says it's triumph of vision, beginning of aviation hub. You find that story on the front page of This Day newspaper, continued on page 11. More headlines. Shell Total Energies expect first oil gas production from $5 billion Bonga North, $550 million Ubeta fields by 2027. That story is also on the front page, continued on page 11. More headlines. CBN directs banks to submit capital plans, gives 10 days deadline. It's on the front page, continued on page 11 of the This Day newspaper. Tinubu urges BRICS to rethink global governance structure, finance, health. That's on page 10 of the This Day newspaper. More headlines. That's about it on the front page of the This Day newspaper this morning. And on the front page of the Daily Trust newspaper, 23 months after, queues persist at CNG dispensing points. That's on the front page, continued on pages 5 and 4. 3 and 4, rather. More headlines. Military bombs terrorist enclaves in Borno. That's on page 7. 10 die in fresh anti-Ruto protest in Kenya. Also, Olubadan dies at 90. That's on page 12. I will also say this. 70 vigilantes fed killed in bandits ambush in Plateau. That's on page 5 of the Daily Trust newspaper. Sanusi Bayero supporters clash at Kanu Palace. That's on page 11. Flood, rainstorm destroy 500 houses in Kogi, Kebbi communities. That's on page 30. Finally, disquiet over moves to create new emirates and chiefdoms in Bauchi. That's on page 4 of the Daily Trust newspaper this morning. These and many more we'll take a look at on Perspectives Unlimited. Just make sure to stay tuned and tell a friend to tell a friend to tell another friend to join the show this morning. I'm not doing this alone. I cannot do it all alone. Okay, so joining me this morning, or has already joined me this morning, is Chukwemeka Mnachiso, our news editor. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Bola.
How do you do?
I'm okay.
How was your night?
It was fine.
I think that's the most common question that Nigerians
we normally ask. Yes.
So we hope it wasn't too cold.
No, thank God for sleeping and waking up. You know, that's the first miracle of the day. You know, when you sleep, when you go to bed, you are dead. Anything can happen to you. And when you wake up, you thank God for giving you back your life. It is not by your own power. It is just a gift.
Very true. Very true. It's just a gift. And we should remember to thank God every day and use this gift judiciously. Now, before we, dive into most of the stories, there's this headline. Or let's start from there. Two things I actually want to just quickly talk about. Now, on the Punch, I saw the headline that says U.S. Embassy begins screening Nigerian students' social media accounts. In this day and age, who you are, once upon a time, people used to say, oh, who I am on social media is not who I am in real life. Social media is just a way for me to escape my regular life. But it does seem like social media is starting to, be, it's starting to be taken as who you are, in real life. Because now the United States Mission in Nigeria has announced that all applicants from F, M, and J non-immigrant visas must now adjust their social media accounts' privacy settings to public. That means that prior to this notice, if you're on Instagram or TikTok, you can actually set it to private, where only people who follow you can see what you post, see the things that you put out. But now they've said it must be public because we want to see everything that you're posting. Let's not forget, sometime last year also, the Nigerian government was taking steps to also see that as a citizen, who has NIN and BVN, they also have your social media accounts, and people said it's online dictatorship. What do you think?
No, what America is doing is a fallout of what is currently playing out in that country. Many people, immigrants from Middle East and from some countries, will go to America to study. And when they get into the campuses, they become overnight activists. You understand? And what they cannot do in their home country, because they see that America is a land of the free and the home of the brave, they begin to play some politics in the campuses, and America doesn't want that. That's why they said there was one particular young man they arrested because he was champion when this Gaza thing, he was carrying it on his head, inciting statements in the campuses, gathering students around himself and creating unnecessary as a hula balloon in the campuses. And they arrested him, put him in jail, and they wanted to deport him. So they went to court, and everything is still out there in the public domain. So America doesn't want people who will come into their country and become overnight activists. Meanwhile, the country you are coming from, you don't have such freedom. But when you come to America and discover that, oh, there is a law that protects freedom of speech, they exploit it and begin to say something they cannot ordinarily say even in their own country. So I guess that's the reason why America is now becoming wise. They are scrutinizing to know your belief, what you post out there, because you cannot be saying something that you don't believe in. So they want to see who you are.
But do you think this will be effective? I can easily just open another Facebook or Instagram account, that I would put my name on and change the name. People do it. Have an alias for my actual account.
This may be one of the things they are doing to check the excesses of these people who are coming into their country. I'm not saying that it is the only thing they do. There may be other ways, but this is one. And I know this is the reason why they are doing it. So if you want to apply as a student to come to that place to study, we want to know your background, what you are doing, and every other thing about you, so that you don't come there and begin to create unnecessary problem in the campuses. Now, anti-Semitism is one big problem in American campuses, and it has even affected a lot of Ivy League colleges in America, because that's why Trump is cutting funding. Yes, to some of them, even to Harvard, because of their leniency towards some of these people that are promoting hate speech and every other thing against people from other ethnic groups or nationalities in America. So I guess that's why America is taking this step, so that before you come to their country, they already know who you are and what you are going to do. And I support them. If you want to come to study in our country as a student, study and go back to where you're coming from. You don't have to come here and it happened in one country, I think it's Australia. Some people immigrated over there and begin to tell Australian government that, oh, we don't eat this in our place, you must put a ban on it. They thank God for the woman that was the president then. He told them and said, where you are coming from, go back to where you are coming from. If you cannot stay with us where we are living, that's the way it should be. That's a country. You don't come in as an immigrant and begin to dictate to them how to live their life. What happened to your own country? Go back to where you are coming from. If you know that you came over here and you saw us eating this particular kind of meat, and you say it offends your religious sensibilities, go back to where you are coming from. Leave us alone. We didn't invite you. Simple.
All right, thank you so much for that. And finally, do you think that, if the Nigerian government decides to take a leaf from this and decides that, every citizen, just the way you registered your NIN, now you have to add your social media accounts to it?
Nigeria is not an organized country, so we cannot have such a thing. We are not organized. We have not gotten the kind of leadership that believes in this country. When we get that leadership that believes in Nigeria, the leadership propelled by statesmen, not politicians, because politicians are always after their interest. Statesmen are after the state. They care for the well-being of the citizen, not politicians. We don't have statesmen. So when we get to that level where we have a country, we are organized, we know there is a red line you cannot cross. And there are certain things that will be put in place that if you want to aspire to be a leader, you must meet this criteria. If you don't, you cannot. But here, anybody can be anything in Nigeria, and it can work in such a scenario. It works in a place where people are organized and they know where they are going to.
All right, thank you so much. Now let's move on to some of the stories making the rounds across the different dailies this morning. It's July and the rains are here in full force. I was so surprised it didn't rain yesterday night. Along Oluyole. It probably may have rained somewhere else. And the rains are here in full force. And this headline on the Punch says, July flood alert, 20 states at risk despite 620 billion naira intervention. It says the Nigerian Meteorological Agency has issued a flood alert for the month of July, warning that states including Sokoto, Lagos, Edo, Benue, and 16 others are at risk of experiencing flash floods. Now, this came as the Africa Environmental Health Organization, climate change adaptation researchers, and members of the Nigerian Institute of Town Planners, among others, lambasted state governments following the recent devastating floods that ravaged several states, calling for an intense scrutiny over the management of ecological funds allocated to affected regions. Findings showed that despite receiving over 620 billion naira in ecological funds, many states seem ill-prepared to mitigate the impact of such disasters, raising questions about the effectiveness of these funds in enhancing environmental resilience and disaster preparedness. NIMET's flash flood risk alert for July 2025, which was released on Monday by the agency, showed the states with varying probable risks of experiencing flash flooding events due to the onset of rainfall across the country. So apparently, Sokoto State has a high risk of experiencing flash floods. Kaduna, Zamfara, Yobe, Bauchi, Bayelsa, Jigawa, Adamawa, Taraba, Niger, Nasarawa, Benue, Ogun, Ondo, Lagos, Delta, Edo, Cross River, Rivers, and Akwa Ibom. These are some of the states that are very likely to experience flooding. Now, on I believe that was, I think, on Wednesday or Thursday last week, the rains were so heavy.
Yeah, so heavy.
And someone who was coming along this Olioli road, this bridge that was reconstructed with the help of, what's the organization now? With the help of an organization, the level of the water in the river had, risen to a point that if the rain had actually continued unabated, it would have gotten to the bridge. And it got me thinking that, a river is supposed to flow and keep flowing. But because of the activities of some people that dump refuse in these rivers and do all sorts, defecate in the river, and all of that, and dump refuse in their drainage system, some of these places are blocked. And, the water can't, go as it should. What, is the best way to address things like this or people like this?
There's no best way to address it rather than people taking ownership of their own action. You see, a government cannot do everything. Before the rain came, we repeatedly on this platform cried out that, look, there is need to clear the drainages because of the oncoming rainfall. And now we are here. It is not everything that government should do. The citizens themselves must participate meaningfully in keeping the environment safe from flooding. But it appears that we are not doing that. And we don't learn because we are a nation that learns geography the morning after earthquake. And let me even tell you something. The governors have ecological fund, and because we are running a system where there's no accountability, the governors will collect the money and do whatever they want to do with it. Nobody asks question. And just like they have security vote, just like they have some politicians have constituency allowance, there are a lot of freebies when you are in government, and you are not going to give account. Whatever you do with it is nobody's business, and you don't run a system, and they expect to prosper in that kind of environment. And I've repeatedly asked this question: the way our leaders run Nigeria is that the way they run their own private entities?
Let me take you to last year, where someone said that the federal government should consider taking charge of the ecological funds. Do you believe that there will be any difference if the federal government takes charge?
There will be no difference. The reason why ecological funds are not being used is because there is no mechanism to check how governors spend this money. Look at the money you have been giving to governors for to take care of the environment. After every year during rainy season, we have the same problem because the money has not been utilized. And even if they do so, there's no way to point out what they have done with the money. And don't forget that whatever that you are giving and you are not making use of, a time is coming when it will be so obvious that you have not used this money. That's why we are having flooding in almost all the states, especially those are the coastal, those are the riverine areas. You have this money, but you have the money to dredge some of these places. You have the money to, the federal government is doing its own bit. the governor. That's why when people keep blaming the federal government, I keep telling them that look at the states. There are things that the federal government will give to the states to do, but the states are not doing it, and they are not. And we can't even talk of the local government because they are not existing. So it is the governors that are actually creating some of the problems that we have in this country. Now we are talking of flooding. Where have you spent the money you received to take care of that problem that the federal government envisaged that will come when the rains come? Now it has not been done. Now we are back here. The next thing we are here now is NEMA. We carry a tent, mosquito net, and be sharing to people. Why didn't we stop these things from happening? Why didn't we? If you know that there's a waterway, why not do dredging? You have the money to do the dredging so that when water comes, it can flow. But they don't do that. And remember that the problem we have in terms of flooding, when you abuse the earth, you pay. Earth does not forgive. And earth is like we are having problem of ozone layer now. Depletion of ozone layer, flooding all over the world. Look at the one that happened in Texas. Almost 100 people killed because human being has refused to take care of the earth, and the earth will revolt, and that's why we are paying consequences, and that's why we have flooding all over the world. It's not only in Nigeria. It's not peculiar here. It has become our human experience across the globe.
All right. For those of us in Oyo State, the Oyo State Emergency Management Agency, Oyo SEMA, on Friday, that's last week, issued a flash flood alert for residents of Ibadan, particularly those living in Akinyele, Egbeda, and Oluyole local government areas. They urged residents in those areas to take proactive measures to mitigate the impact of potential flooding. They say that heavy rainfall is expected in these local governments, and they're advising residents to ensure that they take care of their areas, especially those who are in low-lying areas, to avoid walking through or driving through flood waters, so that they don't drown. And if you live in a flood-prone area, be prepared to move to higher ground if instructed.
Yeah, especially children are in school. Parents should be very careful allowing their children to come back home alone. It is very dangerous. I've said it somewhere, and a lot of parents said it didn't cross their mind. I say no. The kind of flooding that we're expecting, don't allow your children. If the rain starts when they're in school, let them stay in school. Don't tell them to begin to come home alone. They can be swept away. You understand? Allow them to let them stay in school and wait for you. And you wait for the rain to finish before you go and pick them up. Don't ever tell them to take Okada. And because all these Okada people, they may even see the flood and put head. When the children, you know what I'm saying? So they should take precaution and not endanger the lives of their children.
Which is very true, because I experienced it as a child in secondary school, where we were actually already on our way home. The rain was falling, but we thought we could find it. We had our raincoats and we thought we could find our way. And by the time we got to the bridge, it was a bit covered with water, and we were almost swept off.
You stepped in.
Whereas my mom had been, trying to call home. Oh, these children are not yet home. Calling school. Oh, they've left school, and she was so worried.
Yes.
And she had to, come
Yes.
as well. And she met us on the way.
Yes,
Thank God for
yes.
some elderly women who were able to, rescue us and were not swept away.
That's what I'm saying. When the rain is there, when it appears it will rain, let school authorities not allow the children to go home alone. Let somebody, an adult, come to school and sign. They should not be allowed to go home alone. Especially when the cloud is dark and it's about to rain, let children stay back in school. If they're at home, let them stay at home. Let them not go to school until the rain is over.
All right. Thank you so much for that. Please, let's not forget that safety is important. We'll take a short break. We have to pay some bills. We'll take a short break. When we come back, we have so many other stories that I want to take a look at. So don't go anywhere. It's Perspectives Unlimited on Wells Radio 89.3 FM, your preferred wholesome radio, your number one family radio in the whole of Oyo State.
The Financial Services Regulation Coordinating Committee, FSRCC, in collaboration with the National Broadcasting Commission, NBC, wishes to draw the attention of the public to the activities of illegal financial operators, IFOs, which threaten public trust and the stability of the Nigerian financial system. The general public is hereby advised to refrain from dealing with unlicensed financial operators who deceive individuals with unrealistically high investment returns. Verify the licensing status of such schemes on these websites: www.cbn.gov.ng, www.nicom.gov.ng, www.pencom.gov.ng, www.sec.gov.ng, www.fsrcc.gov.ng. To report any suspicions of illicit financial activities, call CBN 0817 665 7060, 0707 338 4828, SEC 0209 462 1168. Announcer, FSRCC.
Hi, this is Nene from the boat safety team. You can't see us, but we're right here with you on every boat ride. To your left is the ride insurance team. We insure your ride as soon as your trip starts. To your right is the record audio team. We keep a recording of your trip for 24 hours in case you need it later. And behind you is the customer support team, ready to chat 24/7. We're the boat safety team, by your side on every ride.
How long will it take you to confirm payment? I have been waiting for the past 1 hour.
I'm so sorry. Our network is slow. I will just run out of data.
Same excuse yesterday. It is unacceptable, please. You better switch to One Data Internet Service.
One Data?
Yes, One Data. One Data is an internet service provider with the best alternative and solution for unlimited speed. One Data provides fast and reliable internet service to organizations, homes, and places of interest in Nigeria. With One Data, you get to enjoy the premium internet service with dedicated unlimited internet speed at all times, 24/7 fantastic customer service and support, and you enjoy a 1-month free subscription when you make payment. Now is the time to say goodbye to downtimes. Sign up with One Data today on 0811 223 2671 or visit www.onedata.ng for more inquiries. One Data, unlimited speed.
Give your child the gift of excellence at Juniors International School, Alafin Avenue, Oluyole Estate, Ibadan. Are you searching for a school where top quality education meets care, love, and safety? A school where skilled professionals ignite young minds in an environment that stimulates learning, creativity, and moral growth? Do you desire a school that offers rich academic curricula designed to prepare your child for local and international examinations, opening doors to future success both within and outside Nigeria? At Juniors International School, we don't just educate, we discover and nurture each child's unique aptitude while molding them into highly productive global citizens driven by godly principles. Join us on the journey of raising tomorrow's leaders. Admission test into pre-nursery to year 5 holds on Friday, 1st August 2025. Venue: Juniors International School, Alafin Avenue, Oluyole Estate, Ibadan. Time: 9 a.m. Admission forms are available online at www.juniorsinternationalschool.com or at the school premises. Juniors International School, Center of Excellence.
All right, you're welcome back. Thank you for staying tuned to Wells Radio 89.3 FM. You can do business with us. All you have to do is to call our lines and make inquiries, and we're there for you. Just simply call us 0915 you can send a WhatsApp message to that number or a text message, and somebody will definitely reach out to you so that we can do business that will benefit you and also benefit us. All right, it's Perspectives Unlimited, where we take a look at headlines and stories making the rounds across the different dailies in Nigeria. If you're just joining us, you're welcome. Now, let's move on to more stories this morning. I'm still joined by Chukwemeka Munachiso, our news editor, who is our analyst for today. This headline says, ASU branches suspend lectures over delayed June salaries. ASU branches suspend lectures over delayed June salary. So basically, some branches of ASU have suspended lectures because June salaries have been delayed. This is not the first time, Chukwemeka, that we'll be having. This is not the first time that ASU will be going on strike. In fact, I think that for the entirety of last year, ASU in general, as well as the NMA, kept threatening the government that they would go on strike. They kept threatening the government that they would go on strike, and on like that. What is the lasting solution to this?
If the ASU and government, it has become something like Tom and Jerry. And if they say they want to go and they've given notice of embarking on a work to rule action because of the delay in the payment of salary, why should the government even delay paying their salary?
There was one time that ASU was on strike and the federal government threatened that it is going to be a no work, no pay.
I don't believe in that.
And now ASU has said, they said this last month, that they also would be doing no pay, no work.
Look, if you say no work, no pay, how many of our people in the House of Rep or Senate contribute to any bill? Some of them go there to sleep and they raise up their hand, and yet at the end of the day they pay them for sleeping on bench, for sleeping, for dozing off when critical issues are being discussed about Nigeria. So I don't believe in that no work. Let government do the needful and pay them. These people, they are even underpaid. They are even not well paid, and yet you cannot even give them that peanut. So the reason why they are doing this is because none of their children is schooling here. So if they have their children here and they know the implication of keeping lecturers away from classes, they will understand that you don't have to tamper with the salary of these people. They should pay them. Their own salaries, are they being delayed?
No.
The politicians, they pay themselves. They know how to pay themselves, but they don't know how to pay others.
Now, some of the issues allegedly that have, contributed to this, first off, is the fact that members of ASU migrated from the IPPIS platform. And let's not forget the battle that came with them migrating in the first place to the IPPIS platform, where they all said they didn't want to migrate to the IPPIS platform. And now they have migrated away from the IPPIS platform. Some of them believe that this is like a punishment.
Yes.
For that.
It is. And they have not forgiven the government for that. There was a lot of back and forth.
Yes, there was. All right, the phone lines are open, 0916-893-1000, 0915-333-4893. Let's take this call. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning to you. Thank you for calling.
This is Adenke from Muslim.
All right, you're welcome, Adirunke.
On the issue of flooding, it's so sad that our leaders are not proactive enough when it comes to flooding. Despite several warnings from 9 men that there will be heavy flooding, still they did not take necessary action. So I just thought that we, the citizens, we are also part of the contributor to the issue of this flood, because by dumping of refugees, littering faces on our river waterways is not a good one. So I just thought that we citizens should try and put a stop to it, because with this, it will reduce the flooding we are experiencing. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for your contribution. The phone lines are open, 0916-893-1000, 0915-333-4893, and 0911-3333-893. These are the numbers to call to be a part of the conversation this morning. So basically, ASU, has begun nationwide strike. So if your child comes back home, it's because the federal government is owing ASU. And the ASU National President, Professor Chris Piona, has said that the union has instructed all its branches to suspend academic activities. Now, they say when two elephants fight, it's the grass that suffers. These students are not allowed to owe school fees. Comparing what school fees was like in 2023 and the prices that we have now, there is a yawning gap. Where is justice for the students?
Nigeria is not a land of justice in the first place. But let me tell you something. When the children return home from school, there are a lot of implications. The parents are struggling to make ends meet, and these children are coming back home. You know what that means? And the government, look, Bola, when you have a system where those at the helm of affairs don't even understand the importance of education, you have this kind of situation. Because if we have people who understand that education is the bedrock of every society that must develop, they will not toy with whatever that has to do with education. But we have politicians who don't even care, who don't even understand, because they are not statesmen. They are just there for. Okay.
Let's take this call. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning to you, sir. Your name and where you're calling from, please.
My name is Salami. I'm calling from Awoton.
You're welcome, Mr. Salami.
Good morning, Salami. Good morning.
Okay, sir. First and foremost, I'd like to my condolences to the late Oduekun family. May his soul rest in peace, and it is necessary to congratulate the Ibadan line, Central State Manager. May his reign be peaceful. This morning on the issue of flooding, the area I would like to talk about, because it's an area that concerns each and every one of us. Two things I'd just like to suggest here. One, that citizens should learn to take responsibility for our action, and we should know that whatever action we do has a consequence. I don't know how any right-thinking individual will be waiting for rain to come to push your waste, your refuse to the drainage gutter in popular parlance, that puts you something and expect the rainy water to help you sweep it away. Of course, the rain will sweep it away from your house, but you don't to dump it in somebody else's house, in front of somebody else. So by the time there's accumulation of source, we know the consequence. The building is blocked, and of course, the flood must find its way, and the water must find its way before it starts, spreading to other people's area. So to this end, I'd like to suggest that the Oyo State government, I'm talking about Oyo State now, the Oyo State government should kind of entrench the state environmental sanitation agency to make arrests. Honestly speaking, it's only by the time two individuals are used as scapegoats. Maybe they are marched towards Agodi for what's it called now? Maybe imprisonment or remand. That when people know it's not everything as usual, people will sit up. And also on the part of government, the dredging they are doing with maybe some of this World Bank project and what has been conditioned with the state government, there should be effective supervision of it, adequate supervision. Because the most some of these people do a poor job, and as a result, they even contribute more to the flooding the government was trying to protect. So they should do that. So may God help us in this country.
Thank you so much, Mr. Salami. All right, he's saying that the government should make examples of people who, pollute our waterways, which I think I agree wholeheartedly.
You don't jump into. We have to start this thing very early from schools. When we start from crèche, when we start from the elementary stage to teach our children the importance of keeping the environment clean, when they get to adulthood, they will imbibe the culture. But the way it is right now, the government that you say it should make a scapegoat of people, what of the ecology fund they received? Have they used it? So because he that must come to equity must come with clean hands. You understand? So I'm not saying that people should not be punished for violating the environment. No, but the government must set a template, must do something meaningful with the money given to them by the federal government for them to do the needful in terms of flooding, so that whatever action they are taking, they will be justified.
I guess this awareness is where the NOA comes in.
Yes, NOA.
Going to schools to, teach children, sensitize children.
Make jingles in different local languages. And on this note, NIMET has done its duty. NIMET has warned repeatedly. They have, in fact, that agency is up to task. They have been doing a lot of things to Nigerians, but we are not listening. It's like singing for deaf people. So they've been saying things and we are not listening. So when rain comes, NEMA, we carry a blanket and a mosquito net and be sharing to people. Why didn't we stop these things from happening?
All right. The phone lines are open: 0916-893-1000, 0915-333-4893, 0911-3333-893. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning to you, sir. Your name
and where?
You're welcome, Mr. Sheriff. How are you doing? Hello, Mr. Sheriff.
Hello, can you hear me clearly like this?
The network is not
Can
clear.
you hear me clearly like this?
Okay, we can hear you
So
now.
I think that means they are doing their wonderful job because they normally give us the update how everything is going on. But regarding the flooding alert, I think all our governors, all the local fund they are collecting, they need to spend it judiciously. So here in Oyo State, I want to urge Oyo State government to continue to reduce the rate of flood and other natural disasters by dredging our waterways the way they are doing it and enforcing the environmental sanitation law. So, and we, the residents, also, you stop dropping refuse on the waterway as well during the rain season right now. So, because we, the residents and the government, need to collaborate together. That's my own submission. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your submission this morning. All right. This headline on the Punch says Senate braces for showdown as Natasha plans return today. Now, this is on the Punch newspaper. It says there is palpable fear that the Senate leadership may clash with suspended lawmaker representing Kogi Central Senatorial District, Natasha Oduekun, following her threat to attend the plenary today. The upper chamber is, however, bracing for a showdown and insisted that it would not take any official action on the matter until the review of the certified true copy of the court's pronouncement. Oduekun had told her jubilant supporters in a video trending on social media that she would resume her legislative activities in the Red Chamber on Tuesday. The senator also expressed gratitude to her constituents for standing by her following the favorable court judgment that reaffirmed her position in the Senate. So if you've not heard, the Federal High Court sitting in Abuja on Friday nullified the 6-month suspension that was given to her by the Senate. The court declared that the 6-month suspension imposed on her was excessive, unconstitutional, and an infringement on the rights of her constituents, and ordered that she should be recalled from suspension. But on the other hand, the court also fined her the sum of 5 million naira for contempt of court
on
over a Facebook post that was deemed to have violated an earlier court order. I like the fact that this judgment was given also by a female judge,
Bintanyako.
And basically, when the judgment was given, the Senate then said that it would not do anything on the matter until it obtained and reviewed the CTC, that's the certified true copy of the court's pronouncement. They said that even though their legal representatives were present in court, the full judgment was not read out in open court, and so they filed a formal application to obtain the CTC. Now, this movie has been on for a while, and when I actually heard this, when the judgment was given, one thing I said was, this senator has what they call a strong head. because despite all of that, the threat of being recalled by her constituents,
which
failed, and so many, many things, it does seem that she may be back to stay. Let's now talk about the stance of the Senate itself. This is a matter between two people, the Senate president and a senator. That was the initial matter. But it does seem, and we can see with the current body language of the Senate that they have taken sides.
Let me tell you something, Bola. The Senate is on trial as far as this issue is concerned. And our purported rule of law is also on trial. The Senate is saying that the court recognized the power of the House to have its own rules and regulations. They did. You understand? So the Senate is now, all eyes are now on the Senate to know actually whether what they are mounting, rule of law, we stand for the law, whether they will actually obey or whether they will find a lacuna in the pronouncement of the court by saying that their internal mechanism suggests that such and such a thing will happen to Aboti Udwa. That's why I say all eyes are now on the Senate to see actually what they will do. But if I were in the portfolio of this man, Ababio, let this woman come back and resume her duty. But I know that there are a lot of hawks in the House who may still want a pound of flesh, not minding what happens to the image of the Senate. Because Nigerians are watching, the international communities are watching, and we want to see whether the rule of law we are purporting to, we say we are upholding, we actually play out in this matter. Thank God that this woman has come back. It has become a benchmark for because we are still going to have a lot of these issues.
Future lawsuits.
Yes, we are still going to have it. That's why some lawyers will refer back to it in times to come. Somebody said that that there was a remark made by the High Court that is not binding on Senate, which they call obiter dictum as a law. So we want to see what actually will happen when this woman, she says she will resume today, Tuesday. So let's watch and see what will happen.
All right, this is what they call, let's wait and watch the action.
Yes.
All right, 0916-893-1000, 0915-333-4893, and 0911-3333-893. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning to you, sir. Your
Hello.
name and where you're calling from.
Hello.
We can hear you. Can you hear us? All right, do call us back. Now, moving on, Chukwemeka, there's this headline, and I'll take it from the Daily Trust newspaper. The headline says, Sanusi Bayero supporters clash at Kano Palace. Supporters of the 15th Emir of Kano, Aminu Ado Bayero, and those of the reinstated 16th Emir, Muhammadu Sanusi II, clashed on Sunday at the Kufa Kudu Palace. Apparently, the incident occurred as Emir Bayero returned from his Mandawari residence. And during the clash, the palace gate was reportedly broken, guards were attacked and injured, and police vehicles within the palace premises were vandalized. And they say that tensions within the Kano Emirate have remained high following the state government's decision to reinstate Muhammadu Sanusi II as the 16th Emir of Kano. We still have two emirs in Kano. We have a federal government emir
and a state
government emir.
You see why I said we have not yet started. My earlier statement about becoming a country where there are no red lines you can cross. We are not. And the people, and we cannot have it except statesmen step into leadership position. Statesmen will take Nigeria to enviable heights. Politicians will not. Politicians will only after elections. They are not looking at the future. They are looking at the present. They can gratify their needs now. They can meet, but statesmen can sacrifice. That's why statesmen make sacrifice for their country. Look at a country like Nigeria. Look at Kano, a volatile state. Look at two emirs in a country. Can we have such a scenario in a country where there is rule of law, where statesmen and leadership position? We can't, because they will tell you that you can't cross this line, no matter how highly placed you are.
Let's take this call. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning,
Good morning
the
to you,
lady
sir.
woman.
You're welcome.
Thank you. This is my calling from my father.
Mm.
On the issue of Uduagan, sorry, the Senate President Akpabio and Natasha, I think it is high time that Nigerians should try to heed to the outcome of court judgment. But it's only in Nigeria here that I could see that a court of law will deliver a judgment and it will not be obeyed by some, in quote now, politicians because they are of the post they are holding. I think the law of the land is supreme than any human being, no matter how the position you are holding. The court has given out the verdict on Friday, and this woman ought to be reinstated only for Senate leader to tell us that he could not even allow Natasha to come in because he's awaiting the report of the CCC. Which is uncalled for. I think one thing we should always recall is we should always recall history. Where is Ekwuemadu today? The former Senate chairman. Where is he today? It's in UK pulling up. I'm telling you, the case that made him to be clean up there, if it's the case to be reviewed here in Nigeria, I'm telling you, the man will be good, will still be roaming the streets freely. But because he's there, it is in the UK there is law there, people understand the law, people follow, people obey the law, and if you do anything that is against the law, of course you'll be dealt with accordingly with the rule of the law. But in Nigeria here, whatever is, by the time there is a record to give the verdict, people will not adhere to it. And I just think the senators should just allow this woman to come back and let them have a session. There's something they can really discuss about them within themselves. Maybe Nigeria can apologize to you. Maybe when they get out, when in the house, the leaf might not even carry that. So all you want is peace in that house. I think it is high time that the Senate leader should be seen himself as a warlord. This is a country that has law and rules. Thank you very much, and God bless you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Thank you for your contribution, Mr. Mario. Well, as regards the Kano Emirates, that's about that. Yesterday, we heard news yesterday morning that the Olubadan of Ibadan land, Oba Olabi Olakuleyin the first, what's the word?
Has joined his ancestors.
Yes, thank you. Has joined his ancestors, and we deeply commiserate with the family. And there was the family apparently went to see the governor to announce his passing, and also released a press release to that effect. I just want to quickly take that for us. And now it says, this is from the Olubadan Palace press release. It says, Olakuleyin family announces Olubadan's passing at 90. It says the Ige Olakuleyin family has announced the passing on of the 43rd Olubadan of Ibadan land, His Imperial Majesty Oba Dr. Akinloye Owolabi Olakuleyin Ige Olakuleyin the First. Speaking on behalf of the Olakuleyin family, former Oyo State Commissioner for Information, Culture and Tourism, Toye Arulogun, said that the monarch joined his ancestors in the early hours of Monday, 7th July 2025. And he says, with utmost and profound gratitude to Almighty God, on behalf of the Ige Olakuleyin family, I announce the passing of His Imperial Majesty Oba Dr. Akinloye Owolabi Olakuleyin Kabiyesi, who joined his ancestors in the early hours of today. He went on to say, we are not mourning the passage of the monarch, but celebrating his life. He lived an impactful life throughout his 90-year life journey, from his military career to business to politics, and his ascension a year ago to the throne. Kabiyesi demonstrated exceptional qualities worthy of emulation. Says the family will give periodic updates as developments unfold. We say condolences with the family of the late Olubadan. But just as Ibadan, people are known for, they say, they call them Agbotikuyo. Basically that because they already know who is next in line for succession, we learned that drummers were already at the Bodija residence of the former governor, Ladoja, one-type governor of Oyo State, and because he is apparently next in line of succession. Well, we wish both families well, and Hope that in all, only the best of the best will happen for Ibadan land.
Amen.
Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for having me, Bola.
All right. Thanks to everyone who called. Don't go away. The sports crew is on hand, ready to give you the latest, the freshest, and the best stories in the world of sports. I am Bolanle Oduekun Ayola, and this is Wells Radio 89.3 FM. Please listen to this important information. The views expressed by the interviewee in this program are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views or opinions of Wells Radio 89.3 FM or its affiliated entities. Wells Radio 89.3 FM is committed to providing a platform for diverse perspectives and opinions, and the views expressed by guests on our programs are their personal viewpoints. Wells Radio 89.3 FM does not endorse or take responsibility for the content or opinions expressed by individual interviewees and callers. Thank you.